So today, June 21, 2025, we are at the Manassas Battlefield Visitor Center right now, and I am here as a result of the James Peters video that I did last year. It has really kind of taken off, the video, among the family members. The family members have been passing it around, viewing it, and passing it on to further family members. It has begun conversations between youngsters and oldsters who really it got their interest up in history and so forth. And it's really been cool to see. But this bus that we're looking at right now, this is the bus that's been hired to cart the family around from place to place. We're going to go visit some of the James Peters homestead, one of his son's homesteads. We're going to visit James's gravesite. They're going to have a wreath laying ceremony there, which is really cool. It is so cool to be a part of this event. The family invited me, wanted me to be here, wanted me to run the camera, video as much as possible, just capture the family being together. The huge majority of these people have never met each other. They're coming from all parts of the country, and they're meeting for the first time, and this is neat. This, you know, I don't make any money doing these videos I do, but this right here, this is awesome payoff to see this family coming together, based on, you know, some work that I've done, supported by many others, that helped me create the first video. So this one right here may end up being part 2 to the James Peters video. We're just going to capture some video here of the gathering. 10 o'clock is our meet time, and I got 10:02 on my watch there. But this is neat. I couldn't ask for a better payoff than this, seeing this family come together like this. But there's much more to come. I'm going to be capturing video throughout the day, different places where we end up. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's go and honor James Peters today. Right now I have parked up at stop number 6. The Unfinished Railroad, that was the name of it. And right now I am walking down to number 7, the deep cut. This is where the bus will be pulling in very soon, and we will greet the family as they come in. But the tour guide, Steve, he's going to have some things to say here at this stop. So this is stop number 7. The deep cut. We'll take a look at the sign up here at the front. Battlefield tour number 7. And our bus is now arriving right here at stop 7, followed by quite a caravan of cars.
Okay, so can you hear me now? We're going to be improvising a lot today, because I've never seen this many cars at the deep cut. And their parking lot at stop number 6 is even smaller. So I think we're going to wind up having people join us and get crowded on this bus. That's just the way it's going to have to be, because parking lot 6 is about half the size of this one. So
He's wearing a mic.
Like Mary said, she gave a really great introduction. I've been at the park since 2013. One of the rangers, Greg Wolf, called me the Swiss Army knife of the battlefield. because I can tell a story anywhere. I'm not a historian, but I am a storyteller. And I am so pleased and deep. Is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And deeply moved that I'm going to be able to talk to you all today. The reason we stopped at the deep cut is it's one of the most significant places on the battlefield. It's one of my favorite places, if not the favorite. My niece had 4 ancestors that fought here on the 3rd day of the second battle. And that's important. But what's more important is the home that would be, or the building that would become James' home was on the hill behind us. On the day of the battle, there was a schoolhouse right here, a 1-room schoolhouse, and there's a small stream. We name it Schoolhouse Branch, but on the 19th century maps it doesn't have a name. But the schoolhouse was here, and it's destroyed during the battle. After the battle, the Dogan family builds another home, or another one-room log cabin schoolhouse on the Deep Cut Ridge. That's the home, that's the building that James deconstructs and moves to the site that we're going to be visiting. So I wanted you to get a fixation for this place and know how far they had to move that house piece by piece by piece. I have to say some things about where we're going now. I'll probably repeat myself. It's very hot today. If you're going on the walk with us, make sure you have water, comfortable shoes, and tick spray. We're not going off the trail, but we are on the battlefield, and so are the ticks. Okay? So I think that's what I needed to say. Anything else, Mary? All right, let's get going.
Okay, so people are going to load on here.
Yeah.
They'll still be 6 on the battlefield. I think everyone's good.
Good to go,
I
sir.
think so.
This is just such a wonderful example. This is just such a wonderful example of what their lives must have been. Constant improvisation. And that's what we're doing today. There we go. Now we're good. I wanted to point out on this map where the Peters property was. All right. Now a lot of the things I'm going to be showing you won't all be able to see, but Jason will be able to show some of this on the video that he's making. Okay, so don't be upset that you don't get a real good shot at it, but let me take a minute so I can find it on the map myself. And one of the things you want to notice about this map is that it doesn't have a lot of trees on it. There's a lot more white than green, but that's how the battlefield looked when James would have known it. Jeez. It's me. Yeah. Right there. Right here. I think I'm doing it. I think I'm doing. There we go. That's better. Okay. So we need to tell the story of James Peters. James Peters was born on the Edwin Landon Carter plantation, which is just behind us across Little Bull Run, or Cat Harpin Run. And it was part of Robert King Carter's clan. All the battlefield property was basically Carter land for the most part at one time or another. He's born in 1842, and before the Civil War, he finds out he's being sold into the Deep South. And he decides he's not going to have that. so he leaves the property. Eventually he makes his way to Washington, D.C. After this Emancipation Proclamation in January 1863, James joins the U.S. colored troops. But he joins the first U.S. colored troops. He musters in at a place called Mason Island. Today it's called Roosevelt Island. It's part of the National Park System. The U.S. colored troops, the 1st Regiment, winters in North Carolina. But in '64, their life heats up. They fight at the crater at Petersburg. James isn't wounded there, but there's so much smoke that he believes that's what caused his early onset of blindness. He fights at Newmarket Heights. He fights at the Second Battle of Fair Oaks in October of 1864. He fights at the Battle of Fort Fisher in January of 1865. And he's injured there. He's actually injured at one of the previous battles as well. But he survives. According to the enlistment record, James was only 5'7" tall. But that was the average height back then. So he would have been the average sized man. After the Civil War, he comes back to the battlefield area and he basically works for the Steele family. Now the Steele family have an orphan child living with them. Josephine, I believe she's 16 at the time. At that time, Pennsylvania had a law that you could go to an orphanage and basically take stewardship of a child as long as you took care of them until they were of legal age. So that's Josephine's story. James is there as a laborer and they fall in love. They walk off and find their way to Fort Ward. And it's reportedly that the Steele family didn't know for 25 years what had happened to Josephine. Eventually they come back here and now James is working for the Cross family. And the Cross family owns substantial property from the road behind us, General Trimble Lane, all the way to Pageland, over 200 acres. He buys two acres from them. And I don't know this for sure, but I think they already had their family or started their family with them. Mr. Cross knows that you can't raise a family on 2 acres. So he gives him 10 acres. And that's a magnificent act of kindness for that time in Virginia. Now we're going to be walking along this trail. It's about 1/3 of a mile out to near where the home site is. We can't get to the home site, trust me on that. It's just buried so much with the underbrush. But we'll get close to it, and that's where we'll continue the story. Did I miss anything?
That's good.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. So we should get off now.
Everyone, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue on with the story. We're about 1/3 of a mile from the home site, and the way it's going to work, just so we know before we all get off on this adventure, I feel like Gilligan's Island. It's 1/3 of a mile up and 1/3 of a mile back. Okay? People who don't want to continue on to the Montgomery site, which is the hotter, we're going to be out in the sun for 1/2 mile. Just can't avoid it. So depending on how you're doing when we leave that site, the bus is going to be waiting back here. So we just have to let him know, and then he's going to meet us back at stop 7 when we are done. I just want people to know there's about 1/2 mile in front of us between James' house and Montgomery's house before we get to shade again. Once we step off, we're in a beautiful, beautiful field. I want to continue the story. We talked about James enlisting into the U.S. colored troops. This is a picture of the U.S. colored troops. James might be in this picture. He might be in this picture. Another picture of the 1st U.S. colored troops. By the way, 185 of these soldiers are going to die during the Civil War, most from disease, which was sort of common. About 65% of the soldiers that did die in the Civil War didn't die from kinetic wounds. They died from malnutrition or the conditions in the camp. I also have a picture of James' rifle. This rifle is on display in the Manassas City Museum. Right? It's got his initials in the stock. Right? It's an 1842 Harper's Ferry musket. If that rifle could talk. And I think everyone has seen a picture of James, right? But now we're about to walk. All right? And right now, you're standing, some of you anyway, on what would have been James' driveway, because he accessed Featherbed Lane from his house along the path. The actual driveway, by the way, is just to the right of the path, and we're going to get to a point where I'll show you exactly where it is. All right? So before we step off, any questions? All right, head this way into the woods. Ooh, there's poison ivy there. Well, you know I'm
carriages would have been driven in. Very clear path. Y'all see that? Very clear path where the horses and carriages would have been driven in. You can see right up to there. And the first time I was here, y'all, I got in there and walked in that joint. I was in here, like I am in this space that James and Joseph was driven in horses. It's very clear, isn't it?
Yeah. And Chris was walking behind her, or in front of her, trying to capture her as she was, walking on the driveway for the first time.
Y'all see this? This is where the horses would have been driven in. You can see it clear indentation.
Okay, let's go live again. And I want to share a story. Again, I'm a storyteller, not a historian. But the first time I gave this tour was in the 160th anniversary of the Second Battle. So that would have been August in 2022. 2023 I wasn't here. 2024 I was. So I gave the tour that year, and that was on Juneteenth, or on the day that the park was celebrating Juneteenth. They were also dedicating the Andrew Redmond blacksmith shop, which is at the intersection of Route 29 and Groveton Road. Andrew Redmond was an enslaved blacksmith. He belonged to the Lewis family. Mr. Lewis was rather progressive, I think, because after the Emancipation Proclamation, he allowed Andrew to build a blacksmith shop. And so by the time the war ended, Andrew had a pretty good, established a pretty good base. Anyway, so we were dedicating that, and there was a descendant of Andrew Redmond there, Amanda, and she gave a talk. And I went up to her afterwards and introduced myself to her. And I said, Amanda, my dream of dreams, I want to be taking descendants of James Peters on my tour next year. How amazing is that? Within a week or so, Mary connects with me on Messenger, and she says, "Are you the Steve of the Battlefield?" I said, never been called that, but yes. And we connected, and within a week or so, I gave Mary and her family, Chris, Kinsley, and Jay Paul, the tour. So my wish came true very quickly. But back then, I wouldn't have imagined a year later we'd have this kind of crowd. I don't know if this has happened at the park. It has not happened in the park while I've been around that I know of. I've never seen that many cars at the deep cut at one time. So I wanted to share that story. And a couple more things. I'm going to tell the story now because we're in the shade. But James and Josephine are going to raise their family here. And we're basically in their front yard. Jason was out here a year ago, and he was seeing stones and stuff that were structure of the farm. But the farmhouse is further back, and it did not want to be found. It did not. When I went on the tour the first time with a ranger, and that would have been Juneteenth, 2022, he just pointed in a general direction. And that's all I'm going to do for you when we get there. I went back and I talked to Jim Burgess, who's been at the park since '82. Had he ever seen the house? And he said he had. He said in '82, he had seen a wall and the roof. And so I determined then that if we had another good winter where we had snowfall, so it would help knock down all the overgrowth that I was going in. And we had that kind of winter. February 5th, I came out. And I found it. What's even quirkier is while I was driving to it, Mary calls me to invite me to the Jenny Dean Legacy Breakfast. And so I'm walking down the trail in search of her ancestral home, talking to Mary. And when I went off the trail, I started getting hit in the face with bushes and said, Mary, I got to start paying attention. So I had to hang up. 2 weeks later, I had Mary here. So now I've told you the story. This is James, of course. And we have a picture of Josephine. She's with Dovey, daughter Dovey, right? They wound up having 10 children. Alice dies in infancy, and Susan, as we're going to find out, is buried next to her father at the grave at the Mount Calvary Baptist Church. Thank you. In this picture, she's 100 years old. Yep, you got that picture. Right? And they had a birthday party for Josephine in April of that year when she turned 100. There were 68 descendants there. Yep. We have more descendants here, which is amazing considering the heat of the day. She's interviewed, and she basically said she didn't feel a day over 50. Dovey would share that her mother never missed a World Series listening to it. She was a loyal Dodgers fan. In October of that year, she falls and she breaks her hip. She's hospitalized, and she passes on December 26th of that year, 1949. Right? She had been living with Dovey for about 10 years because she had gone blind earlier. She's buried at Lincoln.
Yes, in Suitland, and we just found that out. I live there. I live in Suitland.
A lot of
our
Jason's video takes you up.
That's how we found out.
Yeah, and Lincoln Memorial Cemetery in Suitland, Maryland, and it's a beautiful, beautiful location.
None of us had any clue of that until that video.
Right, and so this is where we're headed. When we leave to go to Mount Calvary, this is James, right? He predeceases Josephine by quite a few years. He dies in 23 at 80 years old. And then we have a picture of Josephine's footstone in Suitland, Maryland. And then another picture of James decorated. And you'll notice,
I'm sorry, and when we go to the church there, we can all get pictures with the stone and that'll be a great place to get the big group picture. So we have a surprise there for you. Something really significant.
yeah. So I'd like to continue to walk. We're about halfway to the home site. All right, and that's when we'll have to make a decision who wants to continue on into the sun. Okay? All right, let's go.
We should probably pick our pace up too a little bit, okay?
You lead it.
Yeah.
There's where you come through, and it was an old school bus there for years. And this is the property right where the curve went.
That's the
where
property
Granddad
line.
and Grandma's great-grandfather's property was. And there was an old house here when I was a kid, and when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And it was still here when we moved.
The house is back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's kind of grown up a little bit.
Just
and
a little.
Kind of, but the field, this
Now, I know back, talking about that, there's an area where you'll see rocks all over the ground, and I think that you thought that's where the house was. But when James and I talked about it, we believe that was a smokehouse because you would have a rock floor.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
You'd start a fire, rocks would keep it warm. So when you're smoking meat and stuff like that. But being as grown up as this,
it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's why I said this looks like a foundation, if not a house, something else, but it's a foundation for
We
something.
remember when you come down, we come through that opening, because this was Granddad's property too. And then Coach Ed's property went up through there. We used to bale hay back here.
Used to do what?
and every field had a
Square
name,
bale.
but I don't remember the name of this field.
I don't either. Granddad told us, but remember we can go out now? Well, let's roll it up now. You can go out through that bar and you can see 234.
Okay, so can you put something in perspective real quick? Where was the farm? Because that's what I
That's where we're going next.
Okay, because
Okay,
I
now-
definitely remember the farm as a kid.
Okay,
Can we walk
we'll
up
walk
that
through that
farm?
opening right through. Oh, I'm
So-
sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's the purpose of this hike, to capture as much as we can.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say is we're walking through 5 fields. This is the first of
Yes.
5.
5 fields.
Okay, they all look like this. And these fences would have been the fences that Montgomery and James had.
Yeah.
They would have been fences that we would recognize in the day. But this is what the birds have left us. Right? The birds actually planted this tree line that you see.
Yeah.
Right? They were eating seeds on the battlefield, sitting on the fence, and over the years, we have a natural fence line now.
But right there.
Well, let's start walking that way.
What would happen to that school bus up there?
All right, let's
I just asked why did he change his name to Montgomery?
That's what God said because of Daddy.
So we were talking about the 5 fields. If you were keeping count, we just crossed 5 fields. All part of the James Peter and the Montgomery Peters properties. And we passed a path, and eventually you're welcome to go up that path. Montgomery's house was on the top of the hill. When I didn't know what I was looking at about 5 years ago, but I was looking at either a hay wagon that had been left, because when I was up here, there was a tractor, an old McCormick tractor. The next year I came out, and it was gone. But the house was clearly there. And I did want to show you a picture of some of the things I found at James. Right? We think this is probably a couch or a bed frame. Right? And this is probably the chimney after it fell in. And here we have the tin roof. Remember, a ranger who saw it in 1982 remembered a wall and a tin roof. By the time I found it in February of this year, it had pancaked. But this is definitely the home site. And if you want to get a good idea of how big it was, I'm holding this map. Everything within the red circle or the red oval would have been your kin. 165 acres. It was sold to the park in 3 parcels. Montgomery sells the first one in 1938. He sells the second one in 69 and the third one in 70. Now Montgomery is then going to move to Opal, I understand, and that's where he passes in 1988 at the age of 96. And he's buried in Stonewall Memory Gardens next to his wife. See if I can find that picture. Actually, I can show you pictures of his property, what it looked like in the early days. And if you want to get a good perspective of where it was, because again, we can't see very well anymore because now the park is 50-50, 50% trees and 50% pasture. In their day, it was more like 80% pasture, right? Because it was being farmed.
We should be able to see it once we get to the top of the hill.
They didn't mow far enough to see it, but we're going to come back and see it after, in the wintertime, where we can get to this to the rubble. But this is another perspective. If you know where the Confederate cemetery is, the house way in the distance, that's Montgomery's house, right? It burns down in 1979. It burns the same night that the picnic area on Chin Ridge burns. So it was definitely arson. But the park was never able to ascertain who did it. But we do have pictures of the ashes, if you will. And this is a color picture because that's the time it was. Right? And again, Mary wants to come back here when the weather is more hospitable to actually go up into the ruins. Here's a picture of Montgomery's footstone, right? And he's buried less than a mile from here in Stonewall Memory Gardens. And if you can imagine my joy as I'm learning the story, it's just amazing to me. And I want to ask this question now because I'm probably going to forget it. Who came the furthest? I heard New Jersey early on. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the winner?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to bring the story home, or at least bring my part of the story home, and then we can walk up there. But we already shared the Peter story. But the story of this land goes way back. You can go back 16 to 22,000 years. And the Powhatan Indians would have called this home. And the Iroquois from my area of the country up near New York State. And the Susquehanna from Pennsylvania would have came through this park on their way to the hunting grounds in the winter down Route 15 all the way to North Carolina so they could hunt during the winter when it was a frozen tundra up in New York and Pennsylvania. The first time this tour was given was during the 160th anniversary of the second battle. I gave that tour. The park took a lot of heat. You know, people were saying it's a battlefield. But remember, Joe Biden had made Juneteenth a federal holiday in 2022. So before this land was a battlefield, it was home. It was home to all the people that came before us. It's been homes ever since, and still for all the species that call it home. Over 167 birds call this place home throughout the year. Some winter here, some make babies here, and some just stop along the way up and down the East Coast. This is a 5,000 acre park, and the grasses are so important here. The Clifton Institute of Fauquier County, not far from where I live, they come here to study the grasses. So it's a very interesting place. And like I said, it matters to our creatures. It matters to our history today. We're making history today. This is an amazing story that keeps growing. And don't let anyone take your history from you. Don't give up your agency. Keep telling your stories. I'm going to keep telling my story, and your story is my story now. You have my word on that.
Four of the guys who were raised here, who walked here, who worked here, they're headed up that way.
All right, so you can go up that way. It's not mowed.
Yep.
Or you can head up this way, but this is going to get you closer to the house. Right here.
Like what? For years, I never knew that. Why? We didn't have thank you for your patience.
Hey, if I get everyone's attention, please. Hello, in the back.
Can we get everybody's attention, please?
I don't want to yell, but I just come grab you.
Yeah, this is a very significant moment, and we have elders who were on the bus who could not get off at any other state, but they wanted to get off to pay honor to our ancestor, James Montgomery Peters, at his resting place. So that's why it's taking us a little time, because it takes a little time to get down here. And any of the elders who need to be in the front, just please come to the front and have this moment. This is a very special moment for us, that we get to be here. And you know what I've been telling people? That I think God and the ancestors have had a conversation, and they say now is the time, because so many things have been revealed, so many things have come to light, so many connections have come. Just as Jason has come and done the video, my connection with the park and with our tour guide, and just getting to know you all, now is the time. So we stand in this moment, and we want to be present for whatever this moment requires of us, or whatever this moment wants to bring us, right? You here for that? Yes. Right? Not just these few minutes here, but the moments moving forward in life.
Go ask them if they
What
want to come
is
over and
God
listen.
trying to get to us?
Yeah.
Bring us together. We're here. So, introduce to you our cousin, Maurice Compton, who is a descendant of Montgomery, and he's going to share with us.
Mayor, I'm gonna give them a couple minutes to get for them to
okay.
come over. Well, y'all, I appreciate it, and thank y'all. It's good to meet all of y'all today, and I look forward to continued communication in the future. I just want to let these gents come over before we get started, and I'm not gonna drag this out. I'm gonna keep it very brief, and
Hey, I've been wanting to say this, and I forgot to say this early. My name is Mary Jones Owens. My mother was Veronica Peters Jones. She was the daughter of John Holman Peters, who was the son of John Henry Peters, who was the son of James and Josephine Peters. So that's my through line. That's who I am. And I am so proud to stand here with all of you. I just feel so much love, like from this family. So,
I think we're good.
yeah.
All right. I think we start off with a prayer, and to get this kicked off, at least the best way I know how. So let's bow our heads in prayer, please. Heavenly Father, I thank you for safe travels for everyone who came from far and wide today. My name's Maurice Montgomery Compton Jr. My dad was Maurice was Senior, otherwise known as Butch, right? Today I got my daughter Jayla here and my sister's son Miles. All right. When Mary and I were talking, and she had a small cadre to kind of help, kind of coordinate everything for today. I first want to say thank you to all the family. Whatever your first, second, third, fourth cousin, wherever you are, uncles, aunts, everybody. I just want to say thank you for really preserving, everything that you have or that you have had as far as memories. And everything that has gone on within this family, within this bloodline over the past, 200 years, all right? So I just want to say thank you, for my own. And now I think that we are at a point really where I think with technology and with a collective, artifacts that we all have and photos and memories, I'm going to take it back to my folks, my team, and we're going to put together a website worthy of James and Josephine and worthy of this, okay? So more to come on that, and we'll work with Mary. And I just ask that as we get this thing built, everyone just take the same diligence we took to get here and to present and to meet. Let's take the same diligence to make sure we upload everything to the site. We'll have a nice place to put some photos and some stories about the photos and who's who, and we're going to do a nice tree and everything. So we're going to so that will be forthcoming, and so we'll get with everybody and build a nice family bank, if you will, of contacts and things like that. So but for me, when Mary she asked me to do this, as a veteran, and there's a bazillion family members around me that have served in Civil War, World War I, II, Korea, or because we'll have our own place to come on the web and hopefully meeting here. Hopefully make this an annual thing, at least annually, right? So I even found out I got a cousin that lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like an hour and 20 minutes away from me. So this is just great for me. And So with that, I just want to say thank you all with much love, and I'm happy to meet you all and look forward to continued relationships and building on relationships, like I said, going into the future. So with that, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. So you all get your pictures, if you want a picture with, I want to, group picture?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, group picture behind here. Yeah. Okay, and so while you're moving here for the group picture, I have to tell you something really.
The shorties.
All the short people get it.
Yeah.
Shorties in the
The
front.
stone over there is for James's older brother. His older brother was born in 1830. His name is John. He and his wife have a stone over there. And
Oh, man.
it's like this. So check it out.
No, I didn't see it.
I took a picture of it.
I'm gonna go over there once we do this. Good.
Over his stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Right there. Where Anna, just where Anna is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go check that one out. Yeah. All right.
Who was enslaved there, and he overheard that James was going to be sold. So he went home and he told his brother, and that's when James ran. And so I have a testimony that Montgomery
Watch this.
shared with, it was an oral history. Montgomery shared this, and it was recorded. So I have that in a book, and I have the book with me, so you can take a picture of that page, okay? And anybody who wants the pictures that will be taken, I can circulate them by text or email or whatever. So come behind here and get in the picture. When you're in the picture.
It's still live. This is the first one. If you can see my camera right now is going to be in the picture. All right, now we're going to do it a new way.
There you go. Panel that bad boy. Awesome. Hold on.
So look, this church is where Josephine said this was their church. If you want to, you can step inside.
This is inside the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, where James and Josephine worshiped.